Hey guys, what's up? It's Kev for the win. We're back for another edition of Diablo 3. Today on the channel, we are taking a look at the Raiment of the Jade Harvester set armor for the Witchdoctor class. An armor that has kind of lost a lot of its flavor and spice, so to speak, losing out to, obviously, Mundanugu and her armors. So here it is, Raiment of the Jade Harvester. We're going to be mostly using a full set here. 2-piece bonus when Haunt lands on an enemy already affected by Haunt. It instantly deals 3,500 seconds worth of Haunt damage. 4-piece bonus, Soul Harvest gains the effect of every ruin and has its cooldown reduced by 1 second every time you cast a Haunt or a Locus Swarm. 6-piece bonus, Soul Harvest reduces damage taken by 50% for 12 seconds and consumes your damage over time effects on enemies, instantly dealing 10,000 seconds worth of remaining damage. So as you can see, it's mostly a Soul Harvest build, which works along with Haunt and Locus Swarm. We're mostly going to be using a full set of Jade Harvest here. However, as you can see, we're using the belt and the pants for Captain Crimson. Captain Crimson, 2-piece bonus, 6,000 life per second, reduces cooldown all skills by 20%, reduces resource cost by 20%. 3-piece bonus, damage that was increased by your percentage of cooldown reduction. Damage taken is reduced based on the percentage of resource cost reduction. Other things we're using in this build, Sacred Harvester. Soul Harvest now stacks up to 10 times. We're going to be using Henry's Prequisition in the offhand, which comes in handy in a lot of situations for this particular build. We're also going to be using Lakumba's Ornament, reduces damage taken of Soul Harvest. Okay, so we're using Traveler's Pledge and Compass Rose here. 2-piece bonus, while moving, damage taken is reduced up to 50%. While standing still, damage is increased up to 100%. We're going to be using the Ring of Emptiness, which will come in pretty handy here. As you see, you and your non-fetish pets deal 290% increased damage to enemies affected by either your Haunt or your Locus Swarm, and we're using both of those things in this particular build. Okay, so that's the full set armor build there. Let me identify this out of general curiosity. See? Okay, let's identify this. This is going to be one of those Monjube carving things, right? Gory Fetch. Okay. So, as you can see, we were kind of grinding a little bit beforehand. For the skills, Piranhas, Pirando is the way you want to go, because we can bunch up enemies, which come in helpful. Haunt, Resentful Spirits is the way you want to go with your Haunt. Then from there, as you see, those are the two skills that I just covered. We want to go Spirit Walk, Jaunt. We want to go Soul Harvest, Vengeful Spirit. Horrify, Frightening Aspect. We want to go Locust Swarm, Deceased Swarm. For the passives, Spirit Vessel, Creeping Death, Confidence Ritual, and Grave Injustice. For the Kanai's Cube, Echoing Fury, Quetzalcoatl, I'm pronouncing that wrong, Ring of Royal Grandeur. This is what my Paragon looks like. Obviously, if you're playing seasonal, you don't have access to that much Paragon. For the Flower, Broken Crown, Flavor of Time, Nemesis Bracers is the way you want to go. Everything else is nice to have, but it's not absolutely necessary for your follower. For the purpose of this showcase, we're only going to be doing 2 Greater Rifts today. Greater Rift 60 and a Greater Rift 80. The reason for that is because this armor is a push build that takes kind of a while to get started, so we don't want a super long video for absolutely no reason. So when you get into the Greater Rift, the first thing you want to do is start casting your Haunt around. Then from there, what you want to do is try to find a bunch of enemies to be able to Soul Harvest so you can get some Soul Harvest stacks. The Pirando is here to bunch enemies up together to make easier targets for Soul Harvest. We're going to go Haunt, Pirando to bunch them up, and then we Soul Harvest the enemies. Keep in mind, every time you're using a Haunt or a Locust Swarm, you're increasing the cooldown of your Soul Harvest as well. And that's basically a damage rotation. So basically, you want to go Haunt, Locust Swarm, Horrify, Soul Harvest. The damage rotations are always going to look like Haunt, Locust Swarm, Horrify, Soul Harvest. You want to do those damage rotations to be able to take out enemies pretty quickly, as well as getting yourself better situated. Keep in mind that you have to keep an eye and try to maintain 10 stacks of Soul Harvest wherever possible. There are going to be situations potentially in which you're maybe not going to be able to do as much as you would like to with this. So yeah, it's a slow and steady wins the race type of build. So never forget your damage rotations: Haunt, Locust Swarm, Horrify, Soul Harvest. Again, that's Haunt, Locust Swarm, Horrify, Soul Harvest. Those are the damage rotations you need to go forth this armor. Every once in a while, if you need to bunch enemies up, such as elite packs and everything, you want to then fire off a Pirando, but you're always going to go Haunt, Locust Swarm, Horrify, Soul Harvest as your rotation. Every once in a while, mixing it up, depending if there's a lot of enemies you need to pull with the Pirando. In terms of optimization, what are you going to want to do with this particular build? Well, in my personal opinion, it's in your benefit to, obviously, since we're using Captain Crimson, to get cooldown reduction 8.0% wherever possible. Resource cost reduction, 8.0% wherever possible. If you have more cooldown reduction, you do more damage. If you have more resource cost reduction, you'll take less damage thanks to the Captain Crimson set, so there's no reason why you shouldn't get the maximum rolls anywhere on your gear for both of those stats if possible. I know it's going to take a lot of rolls for many people to be able to do things like that. Further optimization, obviously, in your helm, I would recommend crit hit chance 6.0%. Crit hit damage, you can't get on that, but on your gloves, I would recommend crit hit chance 6.0%, crit hit damage 50%, attack speed at least 8.0%. All three of those stats on your glove will be the difference whether you can climb another 10 to 20 greater rifts with this particular build. And then from there, in terms of further optimization, anywhere where you can power up your Haunt by 15%, anywhere where you can power up your Locus Swarm by 15%, anywhere that you can power up your Soul Harvest by 15%. You definitely want to do it with this particular armor because those three things are your main sources of damage. If you can't power up your Soul Harvest, at the very least you want to power up your Locust Swarm and your Haunt. More so your Haunt because your Haunt is going to kind of be your bread and butter to set up some of these combos that you're seeing concurrently on screen. Obviously, from there, you want to make sure that you have the maximum amount of intelligence that you can get everywhere on your particular gear. You don't necessarily have to worry about AoE effect because you don't use anything which really has a large area of effect with this particular build. So then from there, it's pretty much just focusing on the level of intelligence that you have, getting max roll, getting good gear. Also, in terms of further optimization, you want your gear to be Primal Ancient Legendary. That's gear that is with the red border, or Ancient Legendary. That's the gear with the gold borders around. Primal Ancient Legendaries will only drop when you have cleared Greater Rift 70 solo for seasonal character. For a non-seasonal character, you have to clear any of your characters that you have that are non-season have to clear a Greater Rift 70 solo, and then the rest of your characters will have access to Primal Ancient Legendaries drop. From there, you would want to take either a Primal Ancient Legendary or Ancient Legendary piece of gear and put it into the Kunai's Cube with a Legendary Gem. My recommendation is at least level 80 in value, but the recommendation is between 110 to 130. The higher the level of the gem, the more attack stat you'll get. So you put it into Kunai's Cube, you augment the armor piece, and you wear it. You want to augment all pieces of your gear this way to be able to get the most amount of power out of this particular armor. With that being said, though, Raiment and the Jade Harvester is probably at best a upper B tier to lower B tier type of armor. It's good at pushing things, and it's pretty tanky, but it's a very slow type of armor compared to Earthing. Subsequently, because we have the Echoing Nightmare in particular for this particular season of Diablo 3, Raiment and the Jade Harvester does not have as much mobility to dodge out of large enemy swarms. Chances are it's going to kill a lot of enemies all bunched up together, which are all going to explode, having AoE effects, so those explosions will kill you. So you're probably not going to be able to do very high levels of your Echoing Nightmare, which kind of defeats the purpose of using a Petrified Scream to begin with. So I would say Raiment and Jade Harvester is probably not your best option, probably one of the lesser useful options to use for this particular season of Diablo 3. Now, if you want to do Echoing Nightmare and you want to do high leaderboard placements, everything sort, I beseech you to check out our Mundanuga Regalia build, because that's a very good speed farming type of build, and it does perform significantly well in Echoing Nightmares. Or if you want, you would have to go with the S tier build for Zunimasa Poison Dart build, because that performs extremely well in Echoing Nightmares in the right player's hand. So either of those two are probably going to be your options as a Witchdoctor. I think with a Witchdoctor for this season Diablo 3, really you have to be able to switch between Poison Dart build as well as Mundanuga. You need Mundanuga to do super fast farming and speeding through Greater Rifts, and you need Zunimasa to be able to push through the Echoing Nightmares to get you to high levels done and optimized. So those are your two armors you probably want to use. Raiment and Jade Harvester is always something like if you didn't get your Zunimasa set, you don't have that fully optimized, or you didn't get Mundanuga, you probably would use that to get the pieces you need and then swap out as soon as possible. Let's go back to base. We'll identify this loot and see, or not the loot, but let's see the clear time here. Right, that was a Greater Rift 60, 5 minutes and 20-second clear time. This is going to be a slow build that does slow pushing. You're never going to get super fast clear times, even with full optimization. Keep that in mind. We're going to do a Greater Rift 80 to show you the same strategy as before. Same strategy as before. You want to bunch people up with Paragon. You want to then go Haunt, Locus Swarm, Horrify, Soul Harvest. Same damage rotations again. Paragon to bunch them up. Then we're going to go Haunt, Locus Swarm, Horrify, Soul Harvest. Remember, you want to get your 10 stacks of Soul Harvest in the Greater Rift as fast as possible. Every once in a while, if you feel like you're getting overwhelmed by enemies or you're going to take maybe unnecessary hits that you don't need to take, you should probably use your Spirit Walk to get out of the way and get your mobility and everything of the sort. Here, we're not in a particularly good spot, so we're going to Horrify out of that way. We need to really Soul Harvest some targets concurrently. So let's go Soul Harvest. Locus Swarm, Soul Harvest. Alright, good, good. Good, we're making good strides. Alright, let me Soul Harvest here. Let's walk over that way. Haunt. Parando, Haunt. Parando. Parando, Haunt. Again, Haunt, Locus Swarm, Soul Harvest, always maintain the stacks. As I've mentioned before on our recent videos on YouTube, I recently started a Twitch channel. Same name as it is here, so that's twitch.tv Dreadscape Gaming. We have started playing Diablo 2 and Diablo 3 on our stream. We don't do it all the time because we do play different games, because Twitch gives us an opportunity to play a wide variety of games that we don't necessarily get to play here. But we have been doing a lot of Diablo 3 this particular season there. So if you're interested in watching me build towards the guides that you see here and just doing seasonal journey stuff, I do that on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv Dreadscape Gaming. So definitely make sure you give us a follow. We're on the road to affiliate. We already got past the 50 follows. We're not just trying to get our concurrent viewer base up so that we can move to the next step. Good thing is that once we hit affiliate, we'll have cool things like emotes and sub badges, and I'll be able to do things with channel points, all the fun things to be able to give you guys a more interactive experience. I have obviously streamed on YouTube before. I did do a second-year anniversary stream recently. I will be doing more YouTube streams as well. The only reason why we haven't done more YouTube streams is I'm still kind of working out the kinks of the program I use for YouTube, because it's not the same thing that I use for Twitch. And I was very aware, thanks to people who pointed out, that there were a bit of audio issues with our first major live YouTube stream that we did. So I'm going to be doing some things to correct that for a future stream in the near future. We will be doing some YouTube streaming as well in the future ever. So I do plan to also play with viewers depending on the platform that they have. And that's a question that's been asked. How can I play with viewers? Sorry, I am mostly a solo Diablo 3 player, but I don't mind playing with viewers on Twitch in particular or on YouTube. So we can set stuff up for Community Day, definitely, of the sort. So definitely keep that in mind as well. This week of Diablo 3 videos will now be concluded. Next week, I will be covering a whole bunch of lesser builds. So there will be the Roland armor. We're going to be doing Uliana armor for the monk. I will be using the Tavraja set for the wizard class, which is going to kind of make me punch through a wall. And I think we're also going to be doing the Raiment of 1,000 Storms armor for the monk, or I will probably go Rothmon as well, because we haven't done Rothmon or Tragul. There's a couple armors that we haven't covered for Season 26. All of those are pretty much on the bottom spectrum of the barrel. We've pretty much, for the most intents and purposes, gone through all the builds that would be the most viable for the season. Now we're going to take a look at the ones that are the least viable, and I will discuss next week why those particular armors are the least viable. Then from there, when we do get through all our builds and everything of the sort, I will talk a little bit more about how to effectively farm in an Echoing Nightmare, builds that will work probably the best for those. Then from there, we will probably take a little bit of a break from Diablo 3 content, because we're not going to go over builds that we've already gone over for the season, and we will start focusing a little bit more on some of the Diablo 2 content that we have neglected for a while, because by then I should have the builds that I need ready to go for everything of the sort. Alright, so the Rift Guardian has arrived. We're going to do the same strategy as before. Let's Horrify first. We're going to go Haunt, Locus Swarm, Haunt, Locus Swarm, Haunt, Locus Swarm, and then we go Soul Harvest to kill him. Alright. Pretty simple there. Simple stuff. I know it's a lot of damage to rotations, but as long as you remember this. Parando, Haunt, Locus Swarm, Horrify, Soul Harvest. That's the order in which you should probably be attacking most enemies with. You should do just fine. I do recommend, though, really, if you're going to play Witchdoctor, you shouldn't run Raiment of the Jade Harvester, Mundanugu, or Zunimasa Poison Dart. Those two, and if not, don't bother playing anything else, particularly if you're also playing Season 26 of Diablo 3, where you're dealing with Echoing Nightmares, because this is just not going to get you very far. So unless, like, you just want to play something a little bit different and you want to stand out, or you want to see how far you can get, underwhelming, underperforming armor up into the leaderboard, I would suggest Mundanugu or a Poison Dart and Zunimasa build. Both of those are available in the playlist. So definitely make sure to check them out. And as always, if you have comments, questions, suggestions, thoughts, anything of the sort, definitely make sure to leave them in the comments. I do my best to get back to everybody. Make sure if you leave comments and suggestions, you do so in a constructive feedback type of manner. That was Greater of 80, tournament 16 plus difficulty, 4 minutes and 25-second clear time. Full optimization, we probably could knock it down by another minute or two, depending. So that's pretty much going to do it for today's Diablo free video. As always, a like on this video is greatly appreciated. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, definitely consider doing so, as it helps the channel grow. And don't forget also subscribe to us on Twitch, twitch.tv/DreadscapeGaming. And I will see you for the next Diablo free video. Till next time, guys.